This video about Korean history and culture is distributed by Professor Yi Zong-gu to the world. Please give a like for each part, which contains about 10 minutes of content. Baekje is a dynasty that ruled in East Asia for about 700 years, from 18 BC to 663 AD. In addition to Baekje, Goguryeo, Silla, and Gaya Jia also existed on the Korean peninsula. Although this era is called the Three Kingdoms period, I would call it the Four Kingdoms period to include Gaya, since this country existed as well, for 520 years. After moving to the Korean peninsula, Baekje subjugated Mahan and fought a war with Goguryeo in the north to take control of Pyongyang Castle. In the mid-4th century, Baekje conquered the Yoseo region where they had founded their country. They continued their conquests, taking over the Shandong region as well as Yangjagang. Baekje divided the territory into 22 strategic regions and set up an institution called a Damro in each region. The Damro system was a unique management strategy of the state in which members of the royal family dispatched from Soburi, meaning the capital, ruled each region. Rather than being hereditary, the king was often elected by the Damros. Around the year 2000, scholars found Suksega, a song written on 23 wooden strips at a temple site near an ancient tomb in Buyeo, Chungcheongnam Province. Suksega is truly meaningful, since it was discovered on a relic used by people from the Baekje era, while all the other remaining ancient songs of Baekje are from literature compiled much later. Also, it is noteworthy that Suksega is the only song found in Buyeo, the capital of Baekje. The lyrics are made up of Chinese characters, with 4 characters per line and 4 lines in total. Notably, the lyrics are based on the Buddhist doctrine of dependent origination. Suksega. There was a relationship tied in the previous life. We were born together in this world. If you want to tell between right and wrong, come to make a deep bow and tell. The Baekje Gyeomdong-dae Hangro, the 287th national treasure of the Republic of Korea, was excavated in 1993 at a historic site in Buyeo, the last capital of Baekje. The treasure has allowed us to infer elements of various maritime activities and the 22 Damros, colonies, of Baekje. The incense burner is 64 centimeters tall and weighs 11.8 kilograms. It is an unprecedented masterpiece. 5 musicians are carved with their 5 different instruments in the upper part. Its size is about 4 to 5 centimeters, and the ratios of the human body and the musical instruments are depicted accurately and finely. Therefore, it provides sufficient information to estimate the instrument's shapes, the performers' postures, and how they produced sounds. Some scholars raise the possibility that the incense burner was imported from a foreign country in the early days after its excavation. But later, it was proven that it was originally from Baekje. Therefore, the 5 musicians and their instruments on the Baekje Gyeomdong Yangro were also from Baekje. However, these 5 instruments look quite different from the ones that we know from Baekje. The 5 musicians on the top part of the Baekje Gyeomdong-dae Yangro are located in a circle with a well-balanced shape, as though it's an ensemble. Of the 5 instruments, the Baekje Samyeon, a 3-stringed instrument, is located in the front center. It is made up of a round sound box and 3 lines on the neck that look straight. Currently, this type of instrument with 3 strings is found in the southwestern parts of China, including the Guangxi region, Yunnan province, and Hainan. In particular, there is a place called Baekjehyang near the border between China and Vietnam, where this kind of instrument is used much more frequently than in any other region. Here, they play and dance with the 3-string instruments. In 712, an artist named Mimaji appears. Mimaji was a musician of Baekje. He was a man who taught the comprehensive art of gyeak, dexterous music or mask dance, in a large area spanning today's Korean peninsula, China, and Japan. Gyeok can be compared to today's Korean Tal dancing in that the performer wears a mask, sings, dances, and acts. Among academics, it is believed that Gyeok was closely related to the origin of the Sandinori of Korea and Nyungak of Japan. Records of Mimaji are found in the Japanese Chronicles, the oldest Japanese history book. In the 12th year of King Muong of Baekje, which was the 20th year of Emperor Chugo of Japan, Mimaji, a Baekje man who had returned from O province after learning mask dance music, came to Japan. According to today's territories, the O province, where Mimaji learned Gyeok, is today's Shanghai, China. It is said that Mimaji, a Baekje musician, learned Gyeok in China and taught it in Japan. How could Mimaji have crossed such great distances? Crossing the border would not have been as easy as it is now. At the time, Baekje was engaged in constant wars with several countries in East Asia, including Goguryeo, Silla, Eastern Jin, Song, Qi, Yang, Jin, Huiwei, and Northern Zhou, so border control must have been very strict. Under these circumstances, how did Mimaji travel across the border without hesitation? The answer is quite simple. At the time, Baekje's territory spanned modern Korea, China, and Japan. In other words, Mimaji was active within a single Baekje. The Japanese chronicles that recorded Mimaji were completed in the 720s. They were written about 90 years after Mimaji's time, and why a former colony of Baekje gained independence from Baekje. Therefore, at the time that the Japanese chronicles were being written, it was inevitable to write that Baekje's Mimaji was active in China and Japan. The territory of Baekje in Mimaji's time. What kind of place was Mimaji in the O region where he mastered Gyeok music? The area of O is now Shanghai province. Originally, Baekje was founded in Yoseo, Chinese Liaosi. But due to the Malgal invasion, the first king, Onjo, lost his mother and was driven out to the Korean peninsula. Afterward, Baekje tried several times to advance into Yoseo, Liaosi province, the hometown of Baekje's founders, but failed. It was only during King Biryu's reign that Baekje regained Yoseo province. Baekje did not stop at this and attacked Wei persistently, eventually securing the regions on both sides of the Yangtze River. That place was the O area. It is also recorded that in the second year, 420, of King Gwyn, Baekje ordered the Wei state, a colony of the country, to enter the provinces of Oo and Weol. In 495, the Wei dynasty sent 200,000 troops to drive out the Baekje colonists in China. The fighting lasted for 5 years. However, after the death of Wei Wendi, Baekje again occupied the Shandong Peninsula and the area of the Huaisui River. Thus, the area was already the land of Baekje before 612, when Mimaji was active. Chinese documents, such as the Samguk Sagi, clearly record that Baekje's territory borders Silla to the northeast and Yeolju across the sea to the west. The land of present-day Japan was also a province belonging to Baekje. The first colonies of Baekje were Daimado, Tsushima, and Iljido, Ichijishima, about their last days. Thank you.